All right, good morning, everyone. A weird one today. I didn't think
What's up, guys?
Tucker Carlson could get any lower, which is surprising because I don't think much of him in the first place. We've got a possible another story later. Just a short clip of Trump trumping. But first, the Goybeam. Is it real? Was Marjorie Taylor Greene correct the whole time? No, she's retarded. But there are some possible space laser happenings going on right now in Iran. And this is all after Trump, of course, talking about we've got new weapons. They're fantastic. Look at the sky. There's so many lights, big lights, the biggest you've ever seen.
Powerful that people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is,
and he says he says this. This is in an interview.
more powerful than anybody even.
And then that same day,
What now?
this.
What kind of a weapon
Like, look at that.
is that?
This is some sci-fi stuff, and this is, from what I'm understanding, confirmed. This is reported from multiple places.
These other.
And then explosions right after that weird light in the sky.
Look at that. What the hell is that? Literally.
I mean, there could be regular explanations, regular
What
conventional
is that?
weaponry, but
People are like, look. Videos coming out of Iran right now. Look. That. We'll get into some of the speculation as to what this is, some of the consideration as to what is actually going on. Intense airstrikes. Here, the power grid goes off, and then campaigns are now targeting points in Tehran. The skies are easily
see, and
visible,
that's the weird thing.
Israeli fighter jets. Let's watch what happens here.
Isn't this crazy?
There goes the power.
Yeah, the power goes out. And then I think this is the one, it gets so bright, it looks
Whoa.
like daytime.
Look at that. Then suddenly it's daylight. Daylight. It's so terrifying. So the power goes completely out. Boom. And then suddenly it becomes.
There's all kinds of wild speculation. I just wanted to share that with y'all. That I saw right before I was
what?
putting the show together.
May be right. There's no way, right? I mean,
interesting.
It did go up.
It was
It went
interesting.
up. It went up by 400
Yeah,
points.
the Dow.
Oil prices now
The Dow,
collapsed
just
below
like
80.
what's her name
Wait,
said.
what the fuck? U.S. bombed Tehran like 6 hours ago? Yeah, I'm just so confused. Uh-oh. Iranian TV admits the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khomeini, was seriously injured from an Israeli strike. A cardboard...
Oh, another new supreme leader.
Cardboard cutout reportedly used during allegiance ceremony for Mojtaba Khomeini. It is currently unknown why the supreme leader wasn't in attendance. Oh, this is it. President Trump just revealed the Iran war is very complete, pretty much. They've shot everything they have to shoot. They have no navy, no communications. They've got no air force.
All lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, that's a... They like sinking them better. It's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. So we think they should put a president in or the head of the country in that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years. If you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were
he's right.
largely neutral or...
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I don't know why. Like, if you're being attacked, why you would attack every neighboring country that had nothing to do with it, and then they start attacking you? Like, when you're in the Middle East and someone who's not near you is attacking you, the correct response is not, I mean, there is no really correct response, but the response should not be shooting all your missiles at every country that you can shoot missiles at the same time. And now everyone around them's attacking them. Qatar or Qatar, however you want to say it. All the countries around Iran are attacking them. It's kind of hilarious.
Or at least weren't going to be involved.
Yeah, it was retarded.
And they got attacked.
Completely retarded.
They
Had to
said fuck
reverse
everybody
it.
in the club.
Neighbors
Wait
came onto
for
our
it.
side and started attacking them quite successfully.
Said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
Very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. You know, they're great people. They have an amazing population. Amazing, smart. I'd love to help them, but they have to be in a system that allows them to be helped. And right now, they're in a system that only allows failure. And I want a system that's not going to be attacking us, lead to many years of peace. And if we can't have that, we might as well get it over with right now. Yeah, please. Done. No, I don't want to brag, but you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. Nick, no other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it.
Jesus.
Unconditional surrender means
For Carlson.
Okay, I don't want to play that just yet, but okay, so Tucker Carlson apparently said some of the most retarded shit you could ever say about what unconditional surrender means. And to say this in the modern Western world is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hey, thanks for the follow. Philopotis? Yeah, thank you.
Clip.
But let's
that
get
many
into it
of you
because
have
it's a
seen
long video.
From Tucker Carlson discussing unconditional surrender regarding Iran, the United States, from this weekend.
if there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that.
What?
It's like the most atavistic instinct there is. And so to avoid that, people will do anything.
Unconditional surrender, according to Tucker Carlson, means we get to come and rape your wife and daughter. This is a serious news type person, or at least he was at one point. I've never been a fan of Tucker Carlson. It's mostly the laugh. He laughs like old British monarchy, like oh yes, like that's what I hear when Tucker Carlson laughs. It's ridiculous. It's pompous. It's the laugh of someone who says something as retarded as what you just heard.
And so that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessarily.
Tucker Carlson
I don't
is a
think Americans
hack.
will voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require presumably nuclear weapons in order to do that. And let's not lie to ourselves.
This is a retarded take. Look, even if you don't believe that Trump is doing this out of the kindness of his heart or whatever, if you think this is only about oil, which it probably is, at least a good portion of it is about oil or sticking it to Russia and China, who are two of the two big guys sitting behind Iran, the medium guy, the medium boss. What would anyone gain from using nuclear weapons on Iran? This is a incredibly stupid take for anyone to make. Least of all, this fucking guy.
We're moving toward that.
We're not.
Well, before I get to my opinions here, first off, that was not taken out of context. Full link in the description. You can go and check out, watch the whole show, because I saw a lot of people.
I don't want to.
False fact checks online saying
But I
that's
will.
AI. I saw people responding saying, "I'm a fan of Tucker. That's AI." Well, hold on. Now that you know it isn't, Do you stand by? 'Cause that meant that this was so obviously, so egregious that you were willing to dismiss it as AI. It's not. He's referring to the American military. He'll say he's not. He is. There's no other context. Also, he's doing this bait and switch.
Because the only reason he's talking about unconditional surrender is because Trump said, we want unconditional surrender. There are no conditions. You don't get anything. You leave one way or the other. That's why he's talking about it. So for him to even imply that he's not talking about any Western country, Israel, America, anything, it's dishonest.
Where he says you'd have to subdue the population. No one is looking to subdue the population. The overwhelming majority of Iranians want the United States. That doesn't mean
Yes.
that it is our job to go and...
As a matter of fact, I just lost the link, but I just saw breaking news. Trump is bringing the entire Iranian soccer team. I think they're in Australia, at least according to what I just saw. I didn't have the chance to confirm it, but I can Google it right now. But he's bringing them all over to America as what's with asylum, as asylees. Because if they go home, they will be murdered by the regime. What's left of it, what little bit of the regime is left. So they can't go home.
and liberate them. But they do not feel whatsoever that American troops are going there to rape their women and children. They are the ones arguing against Tucker. So when he says subdue these, what we're talking about is subduing a very, very small percentage, a very small number of people who are part of the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran, who, by the way, in no way represent their people. Let me be clear, being critical of the U.S. involvement, right, in Iran, I get it, completely reasonable. Being suspicious of it becoming a...
Okay. So all I'm saying is Trump says Australia should grant them asylum because they're already there. And that's all I'm saying. So whatever I saw, it said breaking, so this could be something that the rest of them haven't gotten to yet. We'll keep on that. I'll check back on that here in a little bit.
Yeah. You don't want to see Americans get killed? I don't want to see Americans get killed. I certainly don't want Americans dying on behalf of any other nation, which is namely why I have a problem with Iran, who've killed many American troops.
And again, nobody, left or right, wants to see boots on the ground in Iran. Nobody wants that, especially Iran. But Americans don't want that. Trump's not ruling it out. And I saw yesterday that people were saying that Trump was saying that there's going to be a draft. There's not going to be a draft. This isn't even going to be as big of a conflict as Iraq, Afghanistan, any of that. From what I've seen, of everything that I've seen, from Caroline Leavitt to Trump talking about this, they're not ruling it out because ruling anything out shows there's a card that you're not willing to play for the enemy. And that's all this seems to be. I don't think Trump is going to do any kind of draft. I don't. This isn't that extreme of a thing. Now if Iran, like if China and Russia and all that join the fight on Iran's side, sure, maybe. Knocking on my wooden desk, so I don't speak that into existence or whatever the hell you knock on things for so it doesn't happen. If that happens, sure. But as it stands right now, Iran by itself is not a big enough threat for a draft. Especially since they flailed and threw a bunch of missiles at all the surrounding countries. So they hate them now too. It's not going to happen. But yeah, no. The draft, not happening. We are not going to have boots on the ground. At most, we might have a little strike team like they used to get Maduro, like a little SEAL Team 6 action. But that's what those guys live for. it's fact. But yeah, no, we're not gonna have massive ops like even like the Iraq, Afghanistan conflicts. We're not. It's not gonna be like that. I'm calling it right now.
But, and we're going to get some other examples with Tucker Carlson here, and I've invited him on the show, and I'll invite him again. Same thing, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, all of them. Nick Fuentes is the one who showed up, and I disagree with him on a whole lot. Tucker, I think it'd be a reasonable time to do so. There are people out there who, whether accidentally or by design, almost always line up against the United States and against certainly our troops, somehow end up smearing the United States at large on the global stage. I don't know where in that pattern you say, okay, maybe it's no longer happenstance. And to be clear, the claim can no longer be made that that Tucker Carlson is more MAGA than people who are critical of him. I mean, Tucker was the one who called the attack on Iran absolutely disgusting and evil. That's not, I disagree with it. That's this action that was decided upon by the president is evil. That's President Trump is the bad guy. Just like they're going, everyone knows the unconditional surrender is the raping of your women and your girls. Everyone knows that. That's news to me. Certainly as it relates to American troops.
Right.
So Trump responded. He was very clear. He said, Tucker has lost his way. I knew that a long time ago, and he's not MAGA. MAGA is saving our country. MAGA is making our country great again. MAGA is, frankly, America first, and Tucker is none of those things. And Tucker is really not smart enough to understand that.
I agree. I completely agree.
Now, what Tucker was referring to in context was, again, a statement from President Trump, where he was talking about the terms that would be acceptable to ending the attack against the Islamo-fascist regime.
Unconditional surrender.
With Iran, except unconditional surrender. After that, the selection of a great and acceptable leaders. We and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, stronger than ever before. So, whether you agree with him or not, this is clearly directly addressing, especially if you watch his show, President Trump saying unconditional surrender. Islamic Republic of Iran, American military. Tucker says, well, that means that they're going to rape your women and children. All right. So,
I don't like when anyone does this. Okay. This is just shock content to make sure that you watch and that you're terrified. Like what's it like they've been doing this forever. I don't know why I say like back in the day, because they've been doing this forever. The only difference is back then things were super scary. World War I, World War II, the Cold War, all that. We were on the brink of insanity for like 100 years. I mean, there are scary things in the world now, but not to that effect. That's a funny face to freeze on. Okay, I'm going to just hit play just because.
Actually take that clip a little bit longer in context. We led with it. Here it is again for those of you who missed it. And tell me where you line up. Hey, if you think we're missing something, then I have a couple more.
If there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can.
That's not they get to. It's something that happened back in the day because people were generally terrible. But he's talking like this is something that happens on like Game of Thrones. And I'm sure there are countries out there who, if they took over your countries, this would happen. Some would argue this is kind of happening in Britain right now. But not the Western world. No. just no.
Feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is. And so to avoid that, people will do anything.
Not to me or to the Iranian people.
So that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessary I don't think Americans would voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require presumably nuclear weapons in order to do that. And let's not lie to ourselves. We're moving toward that.
Unconditional surrender means that they will rape your women and children, meaning American troops. To which American soldiers said, we would have taken unconditional surrender from Venezuela before this. That's carte blanche. I didn't know that was the agreement. Here's the truth. It makes no sense. It makes no sense in the context of the United States and how we have carried out wars or military interventions. Whenever someone does this, they say, well, everyone knows that. It's usually a trick, and it's usually bullcrap. There are very few things that everyone knows. And if it's something that you've never really heard and is not widely believed, if it's something that's unique to the person saying it, well, then the American troops, they're going to rape all of your women. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Don't tell me, show me. So here's the thing, too. It's remarkably
don't show me,
inconsistent.
but
And his guest, I believe, on that show, I don't remember if it was that or the previous show, was someone who's parroted communist Chinese talking points. I always ask.
Oh, that's just Tucker Carlson.
Consistency. And when there isn't consistency, okay, that sounds some alarm bells. But when I see consistency on the other side of someone who is consistently inconsistent in their application, meaning outrage only for one side, where I'm twisting words, and then on the flip side, I expect people to read between the lines when I say something outrageous. Right away, I go, well, that doesn't seem like this person is acting in good faith. Yeah. Remember, Tucker Carlson, now implying that American troops will rape your women, took great offense to Mike Huckabee saying that the IDF tries to avoid killing civilians.
Do you know what Israel does? They send page messages and they send texts to every cell phone in Gaza, and they say, we're going to hit this particular target. They drop leaflets and they announce where they're going to hit. Nobody does that. The U.S. doesn't do that. Israel does that in order to prevent, let me finish this. They do this in order to prevent civilian casualties.
As an American, permit me a moment of outrage, because I said many civilians have been killed.
Yeah.
And you said, right in the middle of your elaborate defense of the IDF's killing of civilians, including children, you said they do a better job than the United States does. That's my country and my government.
That's true.
My country. What flag am I wearing here?
Well, I'm asking...
The motherfucker's name is Huckabee. He's from America. No one else in any other country has a stupid name like that.
Why is
What flag am I wearing?
Well, that's, of course, my flag as well.
And it's my flag. It's who I serve.
So why the dig at the United States in the middle?
It's not a... See, and this is retarded. Okay? Just because you say someone is better at something or someone goes a step further beyond... I don't know why I always think of Goku when I say that, but just because someone goes a step beyond, possibly in a good direction, is not a dig at the other person. It's not. It's just like, just because someone's better looking at you, it's not a dig towards you. Like, all kinds of people are better looking than me. That person's existence isn't insulting to me. Hopefully I'm better at them than something. Who knows? But that's what this is. It's not a dig at America saying that Israel does this or is more advanced or goes through more leaps and bounds to do this. It's not a dig. Tucker Carlson's a retard.
No. You've totally misrepresented
What did you mean by that?
I did not.
He meant what he said, motherfucker.
You said the IDF is more humane than the U.S.
Yeah, so what...
Oh, really? That's actually a good voice for... So apparently Childish Gambino, a.k.a. Donald Glover, is voicing Yoshi in the new Mario movie. I just learned through my chat. Anyway, continuing.
Mike Huckabee said, whether you agree with him or not on the IDF, that's a dig against the United States, but not the implication that American soldiers are rapists.
If there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is.
Now, we can do the wordplay thing and say, well, he didn't say American troops. He was just talking about the context of Iran and Donald Trump saying unconditional surrender and talked about subduing the people of Iran. Well, there is no world in which he is discussing anyone other than members of the United States military. Do you guys see it? It's using, just like the left, it's using outrage as a political tool when you don't really mean it. What do I mean here? I don't think he was outraged at Mike Huckabee saying that. I really don't. I think he was playing a game.
Yeah.
And I think that he was implying that the American military is doing something wrong there, because he also said that the action, which involves the military, it's the only action, is evil and disgusting. Here's the other thing. If you don't apply it equally, like if you're really concerned about this phantom rape from American troops, well, why is it never discussed that there is an actual rape culture in the Islamic Republic? There's no protection from rape. There's no such thing as spousal rape, including, by the way, not like here in the United States, but forced marriages. So you can be forced to marry,
Yeah.
and there's still no protection against violent rape. Rape in Iran, under the current regime, requires 4 male witnesses. Meaning if there's 3, it's a false accusation, and you get 80 lashes. Okay, let's narrow it down.
Yeah, so let's hope all
2
4 of you,
witnesses to a rape.
let's hope all 3 of you, or all 4 of you, agree to the story, and one person doesn't wuss out. Otherwise, the other 3 are getting 80 lashes.
You're a woman. You come forward. 2 guys say, we saw this person raped. Very unlikely, because they kind of want to keep the status quo. You still are the one who gets punished. Let's go back to the 2022 protests. The Iran security forces, they used rape as a form of punishment for detainees that documented at least 26 men, 12 women, and many children as young as 12. It's a culture of rape. It's a policy of rape. It's something the American feminists are very silent on, which we've discussed quite a bit. But if you're going
I wonder why there's so many protests going on, and why people are willing to die. Actual protesters protesting something that's actually horrible, vicious, and oppressive. Not like how America is. I've seen people online saying that Trump is the most brutal dictator in the world. You see this on pages like the other 98%. This is a group that I used to be very fond of. They used to be pretty based around Occupy Wall Street, which is where they came around. That's where the 1%, the 2%, and the other 98% came from. Now they're saying things stupid, idiotic things like Trump. Love him or hate him, he is not the most oppressive dictator on the face of the planet at this current moment. Doesn't even make top 5. Doesn't even make top 10, considering a lot of the things that are going on in Europe right now. Not even including all of the non-Western countries. Mind you, the Western world has pretty much completely obliterated legal sanctioned slavery. Does child trafficking and does human trafficking still happen? Yes. But it goes under the radar because of people getting their palms greased here and there, because of corruption, and yes, the tactics of said people who are doing it. It's run by cartels. Cartels pretty much run the government of Mexico, at least according to everything that I've seen. But it bewilders me to say that Trump is the most brutal dictator in world history, in the world right now. It's not only factually incorrect, it's the kind of shit that overly privileged white kids from the suburbs will say. It just makes no sense, and it shows how disconnected you are from reality.
Going to bring up phantom rape. Hey, why isn't there a consistent application of the government that condones, that abets rape and punishes women for simply coming forward for rape? Now, I know what you're to be clear, that last one's not as bad as you think. The men there, the 26 men, were raped by women. So or a woman.
Ah.
Help, rape.
Oh my God.
Was that you in BDSM?
No. I'm sure did you guys hear my stomach growling?
No.
You just really?
Yeah, I just realized I didn't eat enough this morning.
That made you realize?
No, it was before. Stop it.
Weird.
It was before that.
Weird, bro.
Okay, all right.
All right, I might have been that too. Now, here's something else. If we apply it right, I defended Tucker, and I still do. He absolutely had every right to interview Putin. I would interview Putin if I was given the opportunity. I would interview Hitler if I was given the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'd kill the shit out of baby Hitler. Don't get me wrong. It wouldn't even be a question. But if Hitler was already in power, if Hitler was in a position of influence, of course I would interview him, and I would try and illuminate people as to why his influence was a bad thing. That's my job, is not to say no because I don't want to platform somebody. Well, someone's already platformed. So I have no problem with him interviewing Putin. Okay, in 3, 2... Whoa.
Coffee.
Then when he did the propaganda piece of the Russian subway and he went to the Russian grocery stores, again, he just said, look how cheap this stuff is, but he didn't tell you that it may be cheap to you, an American, but it costs an entire month's salary from someone in Russia.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yes, on its face, especially with the exchange rate for American dollars, sure, it's cheap. But how much is it for them? How much do they make in that country? And that's one thing that Tucker Carlson, he had to have knowingly done it. He had to have. No one is that naive. But yes, an entire month's salary for something that's cheap. I think I covered that. It's back on one of the old shows. But I might bring it back around sometime just because it bears repeating.
It could be an accident that he was doing the kind of propaganda that you see on state-run television in Russia. It could be an accident that he's also not just saying this intervention is wrong, but sort of out there parroting the lines that the Islamic Republic would want him to be parroting. You know, the American troops are invaders and rapists, which is, by the way, in diametric opposition to the Iranian people. It could be just happenstance, and it could be happenstance that he gave a monologue just one episode prior to this, I believe, that if you put side by side is eerily similar to exactly what you hear on Chinese state-run media regarding China.
The United States has reigned in a unipolar world. That's what they call it. There's just one pole. There's one center of gravity. There's one power center, and that's been the United States. But that has changed over the past several years, maybe decades, certainly since China was admitted into the WTO in 2001. Now it is a multipolar world. You've heard that phrase, no doubt.
多元共生才是人类社会本来的面貌，多极共存才是国际格局应有的样子。
And China is now a peer with the United States, at least, almost no matter how you measure it. Population, of course, much bigger. Military power, well, we're not quite sure, but certainly from a technological and industrial output standpoint, at least a peer. And then on a pure economic level, well, China has a bigger economy, a bigger real economy than the United States. So yes, China
Real
is
economy.
a
Well, that's
peer.
not true.
Who gets to set the terms for commerce and diplomacy and everything else that happens on the globe? Well, if you were to reach a diplomatic solution, there would be, in effect, a power sharing agreement between these two countries. You take the East, I take the West. Here are the terms. But unfortunately, no such agreement, formal or informal, has been reached.
中国绝不走国强必霸的老路，也不认同大国共治的逻辑。
This other country that's at least as powerful as we are, called China, different system, language, culture, etc.
What's the system?
But at least every bit as powerful. And so you can't make unilateral decisions anymore. It's sort of that moment that many parents face when used to barking orders at their kids. They
Kind of sounds like Tucker Carlson doing that thing that he scolded Mike Huckabee for doing, even though Mike Huckabee wasn't actually doing it, and Tucker Carlson very much is. Dogging America, which I don't give a fuck if you're dogging America, but you can't jump on someone for not even doing that, but claiming that they did said thing and then constantly do said thing. It makes you a hypocrite. or a retard. And look at that brow. It might be retard.
You realize the kid is taller than them, and like it's a new relationship in some ways. You're always the parent, but you can't just bark orders anymore. That's pretty much where we are with China.
Is Tucker Canadian? Is he really?
走和平发展的道路。国际格局应该如何发展？中国的方案就是
His faja.
建设平等有序的世界多极化。
Even as we speak, there's probably some symposium underway in Washington about what will we do if China invades Taiwan. Well, of course, from China's perspective, Taiwan is part of China. It's just sort of run off for the past 75 years, but it's still part of China. That's their view. And the United States, of course, isn't in a position to stop the reclamation of Taiwan. Let's stop lying. And yet, only in D.C. is that not obvious.
台湾自古以来就是中国。
Taiwan has been an integral part of China since ancient times. It never was, is not, and never will be a country.
台湾回归中国。
Its return to China is a victorious outcome of the Chinese people's war of resistance against Japanese aggression and the Second World War.
Now, let's just assume that all of
Japanese
that is
aggression.
Okay, and let's just assume that it's happenstance that they actually were running Tucker Carlson on Russia Today, that Iranian television was running Tucker Carlson. Let's just assume that, because I get it, Hitler liked sandwiches and I too like a sandwich. In other words, it doesn't mean that you are agreeing with them. But
Yeah.
consistently, let's look at the coincidentally wrong talking points. You'd have to get all of these wrong and just happen to line up with China. They have a bigger real economy. Well, that's not true. That Taiwan has always been a part of it, and that's not in dispute. Well, okay, that's not true. And by the way, that wasn't mainstream conservative, right-wing MAGA ever at any point. You guys remember during COVID, right? CDC, when we're talking about the WHO, they refused to even acknowledge Taiwan as any type of an independent state. Remember that?
Yeah, or I think there was someone at an Overwatch tourney or some such, a convention, something, and he said free Taiwan. He was stripped of his title. He had won the whole thing or some such. He was stripped of his title. He was banned. And this is why most people don't play Overwatch anymore. And while Marvel Rivals is a decent competitor, people flock to it. It's not a great competitor. It's not a one-for-one. It's a fun game. I will admit Overwatch, for me at least, is better. Or at least it was. But people stopped playing Overwatch just because they did all this to someone who just said, and he was Taiwanese. That I'm pretty sure. Like I said, it's been, somewhere between 5 and 10 years since this all happened. But thank you for following me again with a different name, Fola Pondus. This time 5:46 instead of just 4.
Famous Skype call where they hung up. Iran, okay. The fact that, you need to subdue the people. The people are saying, no one's looking to subdue us. People are liberating us, whether you agree with the policy or not. How do you get the right, wrong talking points all the time? It's a valid question for people to ask when they see a pattern at this point in time. And let's say that you just believe it's coincidence, and I am not trying to say that someone cannot hold any of those opinions. Okay, well, the fight is over the conservative right. The fight is over America first. The fight is over MAGA. It's very clear. Tucker Carlson is saying that China is at least equal to or more powerful than the United States. And so obviously they can be the ones dictating the terms. That's his view. China is equal to the United States in power or more powerful. President Trump's view is that we need to reduce the power of China. And that's all of these moves, and that's important. That's why President Trump and Tucker are at odds. You look at Venezuela. You look at Iran. By the way, Cuba, we got you on our peripheral vision here. They're next. It's all about reducing power to China, and it goes deep.
As Nux would say, we got one El Presidente every month, one El Presidente. We're gonna get that. We got Maduro. We got whatever the last supreme leader is. We got the new one, maybe. That could count for March. But we're still looking at you, Cuba. That's what Nux would say.
In case you guys don't know, than just energy. It goes to minerals. It goes to nitrogen. It goes to so many supplies that are incredibly important going through the Strait of Hormuz that China is reliant on. And if China has an ally in Iran, well, they control a lot. And they, God forbid, could become as powerful as Tucker Carlson wants you to believe that they are. I have told you for a very long time that China is a threat, but China could be a paper tiger if we simply take the right steps in policy. And by the way, no president has done anything of more significance than President Trump in dealing with China. So you do kind of have to decide. America first, MAGA, do we believe that China is our primary adversary? Is our primary threat? Get rid of Israel. Get rid of even Islamic encroachment. Do we believe that China is a good faith actor? And if we believe that we have levers within our power, should President Trump pull them in order to prevent China from becoming a larger global problem militarily, economically? Is that in America's interest? Is America first, hey, communist China, bad, and we want to reduce their power? That's President Trump, and that is my view, provided, right, we're not wasting money on forever wars, of course. Or is the view, it's just a people who have a different system. We say free enterprise, you say communism, and by the way, they're just as powerful, so there's nothing we can do about it. We should let them determine the lay of the land. That's the future of the conservative right. I think it's important to know.
Don't trust China. China is asshole.
Now, see, that guy gets it.
I missed that guy. What happened to him? That was from when China took Hong Kong back. And then this guy said this.
Right. I think it's important to know.
Don't trust China. China is asshole.
Now, see, that guy gets it.
Yeah, I love that guy.
It is important to note.
Yeah, and we all got it only a few years ago. And I think most of you still do. And then I would add exhibit, I guess, what, Z at this point. His most recent guest, Tucker Carlson's recent guest, is Sagar Enjeti of Breaking Point. Also strikingly similar to the CCP propaganda talking points on a regular basis.
At the same time, we talked about China earlier. We weren't able to cover this bridge, but there's this new video going out and going massively viral for the right reasons. It's not AI. China has now officially opened the world's tallest bridge. They did it in less than 4 years. The Grand Canyon Bridge is 2,050 feet above the river and spans 4,600 feet across. Quote, insane. And you can see here, that is...
the waterfall features.
It must be nice to live in a real country. You know, last time that we were doing stuff like this was when? Hoover Dam?
Do you know why China can build so many cool, futuristic infrastructures? Like this world's highest bridge, which just opened on September the 28th, located in
Because they don't care about their people.
That's the state media lady. Allow billionaires to do whatever they want to achieve maximum profits for themselves.
Oh, really?
Chinese government designs its policies to ensure benefits can be brought to the maximum number of ordinary people.
Really?
Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Do you believe that the Communist Chinese Party is acting in the best interests of all of their people? Do you believe that China's got
what's so great about a bridge for the people?
I don't. And Tucker, I mean, I know we've, full disclosure, but when he used to be on Fox News, I would appear on, he was host.
I mean, China's built whole cities, like metroplexes, that are pretty much ghost towns.
I just disagree on a fundamental level right now at this point. And I know that you will sit down and discuss with every Tom, Dick, and Harry or Clint Howard lookalike who claims that there are more Christians in Palestine and they're less oppressed, or someone who parrots communist
not true.
Chinese propaganda
and
talking points.
Incredibly stupid to even mention.
I'll talk about it with you. And I agree with you on probably more than most people do. I don't think that the United States should be acting on behalf of any foreign nations ever.
No.
I don't think we should be writing a blank check to the Ukraine. Was against it quite publicly, to be clear. But my starting off point, definitely as America first, is a communist alliance of people who want to see the destruction of the West and the United States aren't the good guys. I still do view America, and certainly America under President Trump, as good, and global communist bad actors as bad. Now we can determine which policies going forward, where it's appropriate for intervention, if at all. But this is something that we all knew to be true, because it's not just, to be clear, about the military, about the economy. Remember, you were the victim of Chinese propaganda globally. Everyone was. And you saw their thumbs on the scales. Remember, for a long time, according to these international governing bodies who you were upset with, we're not even talking about the CDC here, but the WHO, COVID came from a wet market and a bat. And anyone who spoke out against that, or anyone who even recognized critics of China like Taiwan as an entity, well, you didn't exist. This is the danger of Chinese propaganda, because it upended the global economy by design. Some would argue a biological weapon with COVID. Don't forget this.
The WHO considered Taiwan's membership.
He sat there and pretended to glitch out.
Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
He disconnected.
Goodbye. Now, hey, let's say you agree with Tucker.
Like,
Taiwan's
that's
not a threat.
hilarious and
Communist
tragic.
China has the right to take it and subjugate those people, even though we're generally against, use of force.
And we're
Right?
capable of stopping it.
Right. But let's assume that. Is it ever a good thing to have an official governing body silence all debate or dissent or voices of opposition? How about globally? Is that just another place, another country that is as big and powerful as the United States, who, by the way, may have a different system? Or is that something that is trying to usurp everything the American people want here in Western civilization? We do need to have that discussion. I think it's important. And hey, you know what? Maybe we agree, but come one, come all. Anyone on any of these topics, and certainly Tucker as it relates to the United States, Iran, the threat of China, and communism globally.
Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the live daily show is now streaming exclusively.
But yeah, no, Tucker Carlson, he is not a serious person. I don't know if he's always been like this. I've never really watched him, but I've seen a lot of stuff that he does, and if I'm curious about the clips that I've seen, I usually go back and watch, if not the full video, enough of it to get the full context of what he's saying, and it's usually pretty dumb, pretty damn dumb. But let's continue on. It looks like we've got enough time.
The number of people who identified as neither male nor female in 1820, that's down 43. Around a very small. Done with that. King Kong, the LGBTQAIP trend is dead. Gender, let me just posit this. Gender is absolutely not a social construct. People will say, oh, sex and gender are different, but they can't keep it straight. Gender is not a social construct. It is innate. It is biological. Transgenderism, modern sexual identity, modern gender identity is.
And the funny thing is, the two contradict each other. If gender roles and gender, and specifically gender expression, like males doing male things, females doing female things, are social constructs, then why do at least the early trans folks, when they are male trying to be female, female trying to be male, perpetuating those? And then the they them's the one that break free of all that stuff, quote unquote. It's mostly just beards and titties in the same ensemble. Anyway, continuing.
We now have data to prove this at least partially. So, in the 18 to 24-year-old demographic, identifying as lesbian, gay, bisexual, it went down by 25% since its peak at 2022, 2023. Think about that. Peaked 2023. Oh. Then it dropped starkly. You don't see that anywhere else, by the way. When people say it's just like gay, no, gay has been a remarkably stable percentage of the population of Earth for a very long time. It's, about 2%, about 1 to 2%. But the LGBTQ, bisexual, pansexual, genderqueer, trans, all of these things that you've just kind of heard about in the last 10 years and were told that some Native American tribe practiced it and they inevitably didn't, that went up. Now it's come down. Biggest drop, by the way, was women 18 to 24 years old identifying as bisexual, which could also, to be fair, just mean excuse the stats because they were trying to be cool. That's a lot of girls in college. They say they're bisexual because they think it's cool. You can check the references. Here's one thing, though, too. It's pretty important. It's down by 20-something%. From 2015 to 2022, it went up by about 150%.
Wow.
The total umbrella of LGBTQ AIP.
It was a very cool time to be gay.
It was a carte blanche. It was a
really
get
was.
out of bullying free card for a very long time because no one wanted to touch you. Everything was hate speech. And let's look at this. Yeah, we've gotten into the fact that it was largely geographically dependent, politically motivated in a lot of ways. It depended on your political party. It depended where you lived, what kind of municipality, also the policy. So let's look at this. It peaked, but then you saw 27 states ban trans surgeries or interventions, chemical interventions in a lot of cases, for minors.
And especially now
it
that
may not
people
seem
are
like a big deal.
suing
Guarantee it's a
the
contributing
doctors
factor.
that did these.
Because then you see this number
As they
go
should.
down, identifying the number of people who identified as neither male nor female in 1820. That's down 43%. 43%. And the number of people identifying as heterosexual up 14%. This coincides pretty closely with 27 states putting a ban on intervention.
Yeah.
The reason that matters, and we've talked about this, is 75 to 90% of kids who don't transition, if you don't intervene, if they say they think they're trans, they grow out of it. They grow out of it. Versus if you do intervene, 0%. 0% grow out of it. So that definitely plays a role, along with X being purchased by Elon, along with Rumble, along with people being able to hear the truth. Because think about this for a second. It was demographic dependent, right? Gen Z was a huge...
And look, I'm all for... I knew people who 100% knew they were gay at a very young age. It was mostly upsetting because one of them was really, really cool and hot. She really was. Well, is. But somewhere between, and she's going to know exactly who I'm talking about when I say this, somewhere between, Kate from Lost and Kate Beckinsale. But no, we've been really good friends ever since we were in like 4th grade. But she always knew. I had another friend who always knew they were trans. And this is before trans was even a thing. Just one day, someone new showed up. I won't say their name, but I really, really want to. But showed up, and there was a dude. And then one day, someone's like, "Hey, I saw that dude in a dress at church." And then it turned out, dude was a girl. Not a very good-looking girl, but a girl nonetheless. And really, really cool. I'm not sure where it went from there. We lost contact after high school, unfortunately. Hoping they went on to do good things. I'm not going to say he or her because I don't know what they identify as, so they'll work nicely. But no, a lot of people do know these things early on. That being said, between peer pressure, things becoming trendy, and yes, parents trying to win grift points, trying to score social status points, basically. Clout, that's what I'm trying to look for. Trying to score clout points and pushing these agendas and these lifestyle choices onto their kids to the point where you see celebrities who have 3 kids and all of them are LGBTQ. All of them. At the very least queer. And it gets to a point where you're just like, these are the same people who don't like parents pushing religion on their kids. I mean, I definitely understand that. A lot of people are way too hard on their kids. But at the same time, you doing the same thing with your beliefs puts you in the same camp as far as I'm concerned.
Huge portion of that. And then
Or worse,
the top
even.
cities with trans LGBTQIP identifying kids: San Francisco, Austin, Portland, Seattle, Boston. The left will say, well, that's because people are free to be themselves.
No.
So here's the thing: you don't think that that's
It's
the
pushed.
case in major cities like, I don't know, Dallas, major cities like Charlotte? Like these are still blue cities, but they're surrounded by neighboring cities that have traditional values. And
And also, people in these big blue cities, on the coast especially, were always free to be themselves. But things are pushed a lot harder. It's like that old joke that Greg Giraldo said. It's just like, now, all the bullies have asthma. Who they beat up the kid who breathes normally. It's more or less the same.
they don't actually protect transitioning children.
They're not places that go out of their way,
right,
to influence the youth.
Yeah,
it's not just protected; it's promoted.
Right,
it's promoted
It
as
is.
being a completely normal, go ahead and explore, go down this path kind of thing. And listen, I don't agree with Bill Maher very often, but when he was making these points, I don't remember 6 months ago or something like that. Not the ones we're making today, but just like, this is weird that certain places have higher growth of this than others.
Yeah.
Is there something special in the water in Dayton or whatever it was, right?
Right.
There's like making a really good social construct point. Like, this is not just reality. This is a social reality being imposed on people.
And does some of it have to do with people in red places looking down on it? A little bit. But you have just as much promoting or pushing it in the blue areas, if not more so. There's always a little bit on this side, a little bit on that side, and the truth is usually somewhere in between. It might lean a little bit one way or the other, but never wholeheartedly believe what a conservative or a liberal says. You always have to look at both sides, and then you figure out where the truth actually lies.
In places like Portland, in Seattle, for instance, especially Portland, it's oftentimes like a thing. Like, if you're cis, that's like, whoa.
Well,
you're kind of weird.
Yeah.
You're sus.
Yeah. No, exactly right. It's like, I used to be cis, then I grew up.
Right. Yeah. Then I realized it's more. There's a spectrum, and there's more to it, and then my parents stopped paying my rent.
And also, it's just a way for snooty, overprivileged white kids who are usually suburban, upper middle to upper class to feel more elevated than all those around them.
And so now I'm just straight again.
Well, think if you're raised in most of these cities, let's say like Austin, Portland, Seattle, Boston. You're a kid, you're going to school, you're taught that there are countless genders, you're reading Queer Like Me, you're reading pornography that involves pederasty, you're reading literature that is being pumped into your brain saying you can be whatever you want before you even have the ability to make sexual decisions. And then you have, depending on the state, policy that will chemically intervene to transition you. And then you have some states, by the way, that even if they're not your state, you can flee there and your parents have no say. Well, what do you think happens when you're bombarded with that? What do you think happens when you're bombarded with any information on a subject you don't understand when you're young? It's going to be warped. And a lot of these states that banned intervention, a lot of these states, same thing, they banned certain books.
And the really sad thing is a lot of parents are getting in trouble or even getting criminal charges put on them for basically just being what would have equivocally been just a lame parent 20, 30 years ago. So just being lame, according to modern day standards, if you aren't down with current thing, then you're a criminal. And that's where I draw the line. It's okay to rebel, want to be different than your parents, not wanting to die in the same city or within 10 miles of where you were born. But at the same time, especially if you have good parents, if your parents actually care about you, because I know a lot of people who their parents don't give a fuck about them. There's a difference in abuse and looking out for you. And it's a stark contrast. You just haven't matured enough to see it in a lot of cases. Not saying that that's the case in all of these things, but a lot of the time.
So, no, not To Kill a Mockingbird, not Huckleberry Finn. But
and then on the other end of things, there are parents that just want to be popular, just want to fit in, and just want to be a part of current thing, want to wear the same clothes as their teenage kids.
Hardcore pornography for children. And now we're seeing the pendulum swing the other way. I think we are going to look back, and I've said this for a long time, as a very dark period of history for the United States. I don't think it's one of those movements that's going to carry on into the future. I think you'll always have some people who are cross-dressers, sure. As far as our culture being constructed around a very small, very angry, very unstable minority of people who want to groom children, I think we're done with that. By the way, 11 a.m. Eastern, if you're watching Clip, that's when we stream. Every day of the week. And you guys let me know if you've seen this
There are a lot of
switch,
people-
if you've seen this transition, for lack of a better word, where you live. But this is a good sign. When people say nothing is better, hey, I get that it's an executive order, there are only two genders. But it all starts with culture, right? We were banned from campus from saying there are only two genders. Those, change my minds, are banned in certain countries. You couldn't say that. Now people are unafraid to say it. And here's the real silver lining. Other kids are able to listen. Think about that. For a period of time, kids didn't hear any of the counter argument.
Yeah.
Now they hear it everywhere. It starts with information and you doing your part. It's a change in culture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive win, too, by the way. Like you said, I think we're going to look back on this point in history and go, why? What were we doing to our children?
Right.
Listen, if you're in public education right now with your kids, think twice about it, because even though these numbers are trending the right way, there's still a lot of places where public schools are like, yeah, little Johnny over there is now little Jamie.
Right.
And you got to go along with it. Otherwise, you're a hateful person. So just be very, very aware of what's being told to your children.
Let me do a thought experiment. Let's just assume for a second that you're one of those libertarians who adults can do whatever they want to do, and you believe that it's morally neutral, the transgenderism movement. Okay, you believe it's morally neutral. So let's compare it to a book club versus a debate club in your high school. Now, let's say that there was a trend that existed for decades, where for some reason, if kids joined the debate club, they were, 12 times more likely to kill themselves. 42% of the debate club had suicidal ideation and attempted suicide. Let's just say that, but you didn't see that with a book club. Morally neutral. And you knew that if you took your child out of the debate club, put them in the book club, well, that suicidal attempt or suicidal ideation, that attempt goes down to 5%. Would you do it? Or would you step in and encourage them to stay in the debate club and marry them to the debate club? Say, no, the debate club is who you are. It's what you are, to guarantee that they forever are on that track of a 42% attempted suicide rate. Just assume it's morally neutral. What would you do to protect the life of your children? That's your duty if your child identifies as transgender. It's a fact. The left will use the argument and say, well, actually, it only gets better. Sure, it's not better pre-op or post-op for adults, but if you transition them younger, it's better. Well, first off,
That's not true, and I'll explain why if he doesn't.
numbers actually aren't there yet. Second, it still isn't anywhere near the general population.
Okay, and that's 100% not true, especially if you're going male to female. And I've done a lot of research in this, and if you don't want to hear about this, then I apologize. But if you don't go through a full male puberty, then you can't transition into a full female naughty place, because they use what you have for what you get. And yeah, so it's not a thing that can happen, at least not where the surgeries are yet. 100% fact. And then the female to male is also awful. They take a huge chunk of thigh muscle and nerve, and basically make you look like Dr. House, to give you your very own wang. And the amount of UTIs and such that it causes, sometimes you just spurt out of random places. It's like that whole thing where people are putting their finger in the dam and then another hole pops up. It's a whole fun mess. Yay. Look forward to that for the rest of your life.
It's still an unbelievably elevated risk. So if you don't allow chemical intervention, if you don't transition them, they're going to grow out of it. You're a parent. What do? Assume moral neutrality. Just make the decision pragmatically. Like, societies have done since forever. Oh, you're still here watching this on YouTube? There's no...
And also, someone who's totally against any kind of cosmetic surgery, or taking hormones, or changing anything about your own physiology, I'm against doing it altogether. Now, if you do it, I still have the same feeling about you regardless. If you do it and if you have plastic surgery to make yourself look or feel better, you're probably a lame person, regardless of if you're just a man or woman trying to make themselves prettier or getting away with little, like the whole nip tuck show, or transitioning. There's probably something missing inside you, and you're always going to be critical of yourself and others in that way. Like I said, I feel for you. I'm sure you're going through your struggles, but if you need to cut your face to make yourself feel better about yourself, then that's just lame, and I feel for you. But again, I don't hate you or anything like that. You're probably pretty lame. Real quick, I saw this. I haven't watched this. Let's
We are
watch
currently
together.
investigating the incident that took place outside of Gracie Mansion involving a bomb on Saturday. At this time, we do not have a clear motive, nor do we think that this was religiously motivated. Although, if you were to ask me, this has Amish written all over it. There is a theory that this may have been an ISIS-inspired terror attack. ISIS obviously stands for International Society of Israeli Settlers, so maybe, I don't know. It's important, though, that
Which
we
is
do
funny
not
because this
use
is pretty much what
as
they
a
did.
vehicle to fuel more Islamophobia. Okay, there's no pattern here. Trying to connect the dots, it's nothing there. Okay, this was not an Islam thing. Cool it with that. Can't blame Muslims for every time they blow something up. It's not cool. It's not funny. We gotta stop doing that and blame Israel instead. Okay, it's just a better use of your time. Any questions?
And that's pretty much what they did. All right, and then I also heard about this little sneak
Times
bit.
of
We'll
Israel
watch this real
brags
quick.
about how Tel Aviv is the gayest city in the world.
Bruh.
They boast about their gay pride parades.
14. I thought I was gay. I watched gay.
What?
I saw
Oh, that's
a
not what I
muscular
thought it
dude
was.
twerking glitter off of his back.
Stuff like this is forbidden in Judaism, but it's so accepted in Israel because it's a very secular place.
And I know that I'm not gay.
So even though it is a Jewish ethno-state,
Uh-huh.
they still allow for so many atheist Jews and secular Jews to practice gay pride parades because the priority is the ethnicity, not the faith.
Yeah, again, there's a lot that actually disagree with that in Israel, and there's a lot that don't. That's why it's a democracy. There are parties that say it's okay, and there are some that absolutely hate that.
It's a
kind of the
democracy,
point.
but Palestinians get arrested in Israel if they say free Palestine.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No, they
The
don't.
IDF.
I literally have a video on my page at a pro-Palestinian protest in Haifa.
Apartheid era Muslims protesting for Palestine in Israel.
They are protesting against the genocide in Gaza.
Do you guys protest every week, every day?
No, but there are different protests in Haifa.
They didn't get arrested. They were saying free Palestine. When they started chanting globalize the Intifada, and even still, many of them weren't arrested, just the ones that chanted that, then they arrested them and they were released immediately. But they were put to a stop. But they were screaming and holding signs that said free Palestine. Tel Aviv University had the Palestinian flags flying at a protest and they weren't arrested. You're saying they get arrested just for saying
Okay,
free
well,
Palestine?
you were using-
You're literally lying right now, dude.
And Sneeko does that a lot. Sneeko is a retard. He's a headline reader, and he goes with that on everything. It's more of that. I think this is the one that I actually thought it was.
What? Are you Palestinian?
Look at his eyes. He's cooked.
It's a simple question.
Right, and I'm
Answer the
answering by
question.
asking you, are you Palestinian?
No.
Do you support Palestine?
I want them to be freed.
Okay, so you support them. Wow, you just answered your own question. Good job.
This is like their go-to question for anyone
I
who
didn't even
isn't
show
Jewish
the-
or Israeli. Well, why do you support Israel?
Yeah,
You're
why
not
do you care
Jewish or
about it so
Israeli,
much?
But Sneeko here, it just completely backfires when Nick asks him, "Are you Palestinian?" And he says, "Well, no." And Nick says, "Well, don't you support the Palestinians?" And he says, "Yeah, I want them to be free." So, point proven. You don't have to be in direct connection, share a nationality or an ethnicity with a people or a nation to support the people or nation. Now, this clip comes from what was about a 3-hour conversation or debate between Nick and Sneeko, where Nick absolutely obliterates.
Yeah, and then right after that, Sneeko. Okay, I thought I was going to show more of it. I couldn't find it on X anywhere. The clip. I'll probably end up watching it. I know I say this a lot, and I end up not doing it, but I'll probably end up doing the weekend show on this interview, just because Sneeko's kind of a joke, and it's kind of really prominent everywhere that he's in. I love Ricky Berwick. Who the fuck is that? The decimal point? Me. Yeah, Collider is not a serious publication. 8 reasons it's hard to watch The Lord of the Rings today. It calls it racist because everyone in it's white, because it's one, it's shot in New Zealand, but two, it's based on European mythology. Oh no, a thing that's based on a certain place where there's a certain ethnicity is full of that ethnicity. No one cares that Japanese movies are full of Japanese people. No one cares that Chinese people are full of Chinese people. No one cares that Indian movies are full of Indian people. No one cares. We expect it. If it's set in a certain place, it should have certain people.
This was bigger, and more people have died. But I think maybe more people have died because he said he was going to help. This looks like a Bay of Pigs to me. This looks like America's going to come and help you. Where is it? Remember the Kurds in '91 when they thought they were going to get help from America? Vietnam could make the same claim. I mean, a lot of people have felt let down by us. I thought Trump was different. Where are you on this? Because all these bodies that I see, these body bags.
This will be the last thing.
In Iran, I think a lot of those people went in the streets because they thought, oh, he said he's got our back this time. Where's the help?
Well, the generals have told us that short of sending in a massive number of troops,
Oh, wait, this is old.
it will.
Yeah, I think, oh, this is the one. My bad. Sorry.
We bombed Iran, and it's going on. Now, have you expected me to say I hate it? I don't. Sorry. When he puts boots on the ground, yeah, then I'll hate it. Now, I know too many happy Iranian Americans. Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
And you cannot name one horrible thing that has happened in the Middle East in the last 50 years and not connect it to this fascist theocracy. They're like 6 degrees of they don't eat bacon. And it's
That's a pretty good
popular.
joke.
I mean, Iranians all over the world are doing the Trump dance. Have you seen that? The whole world is jerking off 2 guys at once now. It's amazing, yeah. Also, this
And it, you know, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dig it. But anyway, I know it's been a lot today. We've done an hour and 12 minutes. That's basically where I wanted to go today. A lot's going on, mostly involving Iran. Some other things that have been popular in recent memory are becoming less popular. But so far, I might get to the Destiny show. Hey, thanks, Fox Warrior Gaming 4. Yeah, dude, totally. WWWW. I appreciate that. You might be the first real person besides Shapeshifter on YouTube that's been in here all day. I stand corrected. Oh, wait. You're very welcome for the follow. Love giving love to other. Oh, hey, man. Thank you. Sorry, I thought you were going to spam me like everyone else that's been through here. I get a lot of people asking me to go on their thing, so I very much appreciate it. I'm just wrapping up here. But yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm going to write you down, actually, so I can reciprocate, of course. Actually, I'll go back and watch this at the end of it. Fox Warrior Gaming 4. But thank you very much. I appreciate you. But yeah, that's been it for the day. We've covered a lot of topics, mostly how Tucker Carlson is the fucking worst. He's right there with Candace Owens and a growing number of conservative commentators who are leaning that way, who think that those two specifically are any kind of thought leaders, which is hilarious. If you've ever listened to them, Candace Owens has basically just become what the left saw Alex Jones as 10 to 12 years ago. Before that, Alex Jones was a hero of the left, more or less, because back then, the left was the conspiracy theorist. How do I know? I was there. I still consider myself a liberal and all that, but I am not a conservative. I will shit on either side if I think that they're being hypocrites or doing wrong thing. But again, I don't hate anybody. If you like these people, I don't hate you. I just wish you spent your time better. But anyway, thank you all again. Thank you, Fox Warrior Gaming 4, for coming in here at the end. Thank you, Shapeshifter, for keeping the the interaction in the beginning of the video. I very much appreciate you all. And until next time, we'll be on tomorrow every morning at about 5:15. Most mornings I get to be on by then, 5:30 at the latest. And then Wednesday night we're gonna continue on where Peter Griffin plays at Resident Evil. With Stewie, of course. I am Leon Kennedy, and I, of course, am Grace Ashcroft. Yes, Ashcroft. But we'll see you then for that. But until then, this is Alfie Animus from the Associated.